The genetic fugitive. In the year 4052, the galaxy is a beautiful, sterile, and terrifyingly perfect place. If you were to travel through the core systems, you wouldn't see a single wrinkle, a single crooked tooth, or a single person suffering from a common cold. Every major civilization, the shimmering Aurelians, the obsidian-skinned Voth, the crystalline Sylph, has spent the last 10,000 years editing themselves. They've scrubbed away the errors in their code. They've deleted aggression, neutralized disease, and optimized their intelligence until they became something closer to living statues than living beings. But perfection is a dead end. My name is Jax, and I am a fugitive. Not because I stole credits or killed anyone, but because of what's inside my marrow. I am a natural. I was born on the fringes, on a rogue colony ship that refused to use CRISPR or gene scrubbing. My DNA is a chaotic, messy, beautiful disaster of mutations, recessive traits, and evolutionary noise. To the rest of the galaxy, I am a biological museum piece. To the Aurelians, I am the most valuable resource in the universe. I spent most of my life scavenging the wrecks of the old expansion, living in the grease and the shadows. I liked my life. I liked my crooked nose and my short temper. But the Aurelians didn't care what I liked. They needed my chaos to save their dying species, and they were willing to tear me apart to get it. I remember the day they caught me. I was deep in the vents of a derelict freighter near the Ophiuchus cloud, looking for copper relays. I didn't hear them coming. You don't hear Aurelians, they move with the grace of light. When I woke up, I wasn't in a prison cell. I was in a palace. The Aurelian capital of Elysium is a world made of white marble and floating gardens, bathed in the eternal glow of 3 suns. My cell was a suite that looked like it belonged to an emperor. There were no bars, no guards, just a woman named Lyra. She was breathtaking, tall, radiant, with eyes that held the symmetry of a snowflake. "You are safe, Jax," she told me, her voice like a perfectly tuned instrument. "You are the key to our survival. Our DNA has reached a state of static harmony. We have optimized ourselves so much that we can no longer adapt. We are becoming brittle. We are failing to reproduce because there is no variation left in our blood. We need your messiness." For a few days, I almost believed her. They fed me the best food I'd ever tasted, ran painless scans on my blood, and treated me like a savior. But then I started looking at the other guests. In the lower levels of the palace, I found them. Other naturals, some humans, some from forgotten alien outposts. They weren't living in suites. They were plugged into machines, their bodies being slowly harvested for the genetic data in their cells. The Aurelians weren't looking for a partner, they were looking for a reboot button. They planned to strip our DNA to its foundations and use it as a template to rewrite themselves, leaving us as empty shells. Static harmony was just a fancy word for a slow death, and they were planning to use my life to buy themselves another 1,000 years of perfection. Escape from Elysium should have been impossible. Their security systems were managed by an AI that could predict a fly's flight path 3 minutes in advance. Every door was biolocked, tuned to the specific frequency of Aurelian DNA. But that was their mistake. They had designed a world for perfect beings. They hadn't designed it for a man who could pick a lock with a piece of scrap metal or hide in a trash chute because he didn't mind the smell. I met Lyra in the gardens one night. I could see the conflict in her eyes. She had been designed to be compassionate, and my presence was triggering an emotional response the Aurelian elders hadn't accounted for. "You're killing them, Lyra," I said, showing her the data I'd stolen from the labs. "You call this salvation, but it's just a refined form of slaughter. You want to be better by taking the very thing that makes us survive, our struggle." "We are dying, Jax," she whispered, and for the first time, I saw a crack in her perfect composure. "If we don't do this, the Aurelian dream ends." "The dream is already dead," I told her. "If you can't survive on your own merits, you don't deserve to live on ours. Help me get to the docking bay. If you want true variation, let me go. Let the galaxy be messy again." To my surprise, she didn't call the guards. She touched her hand to the biolock. The door hissed open. "Go," she said. Before the elders realized that perfection has failed me, too. The run to the docking bay was a blur of white marble and high-tech pursuit. The Aurelian guards didn't use guns, they used containment fields meant to preserve the specimen. They didn't want to hurt my DNA. That was my only advantage. I ran through the Great Archive, a hall containing the genetic records of 1,000,000 species. I realized then that the Aurelians were collectors of life, not participants in it. They had turned the universe into a library where nothing ever changed. I found a scout ship, a sleek, needle-like craft that looked too beautiful to fly. I scrambled into the cockpit, my fingers fumbling with the holographic controls. The AI screamed, "Unauthorized user. Genetic profile, non-Aurelian. Initiating lockdown." "Not today, you bucket of bolts," I growled. I reached under the dash, ripped out a handful of fiber optic cables, and bypassed the bioscanner with a manual spark. It was a dirty fix, the kind of thing an Aurelian would never think of. The ship groaned, the engines coughed, but the lights turned green. I blasted out of the hangar just as the containment shields began to close. I wasn't just escaping a planet, I was escaping a philosophy. I didn't go back to scavenging. I had something more important to do. I took the ship to the fringe, to the hidden colonies where the naturals still lived. I brought with me the data I'd stolen, the Aurelians' own research on how to repair genetic stagnation. But I didn't give it to them so they could become perfect. I gave it to them so they could stay strong. The Aurelians are still out there, sitting in their white marble cities, slowly fading away. They still send hunters after me, looking for the genetic fugitive who carries the key to their survival in his blood. But they'll never catch me, because I move in the gaps they can't see. I live in the noise they try to delete. Sometimes, I look at my reflection in the ship's monitor. I see the scar on my chin and the way my eyes don't quite match. And I smile. Because in a galaxy of perfect, dying gods, I am a flawed, living man. And that is the greatest victory of all. The genetic fugitive is a story that asks us what we are willing to sacrifice for the sake of perfection. Jax's journey reminds us that our flaws, our mutations, and our unpredictability are not bugs in our system. They are the features that allow us to evolve, to adapt, and to survive in a universe that is constantly changing. The Aurelians had everything: beauty, immortality, and power, but they lost the one thing that truly matters, the ability to grow. It's a powerful lesson for us today. We should cherish our messiness, for it is the very engine of our humanity. If you found Jax's escape from the gilded cage of Elysium as thrilling as I did, please hit that like button. It helps us keep the natural spirit of this channel alive and thriving. Subscribe and join our community of outliers and dreamers. We're dedicated to bringing you the best high-concept sci-fi on the web, and your support means the world to us. Make sure to ring that notification bell so you're the first to see our next journey into the stars. And if you want to see another side of the human spirit, perhaps one where we use our ingenuity to fight a silent war, be sure to check out the next video on your screen. It's a gritty look at what happens when the lights go out in the deep dark. Thank you for watching, for staying human, and for keeping the fire alive. I'll see you in the next one.